Grüezi and welcome to Zurich Airport, our gateway to Switzerland. Soon you will be landing at our airport, and we are already looking forward to your visit. Before you get here, we would like to give you some more information about your future flight operation at our busy hub. Zurich is one of Europe's busiest airports, handling approximately 30 million passengers per year. The gateway to Switzerland is scenically located to the north of the Alps and connects its biggest city to 185 destinations in 66 countries around the world. Let's take a look at operations aspects and focus on the preferential runway system at Zurich Airport. It is based on a state contract between Switzerland and Germany and is applied as long as weather conditions permit. Its main objective is to mitigate noise pollution by air traffic to and from Zurich Airport over German territories at certain times of the day. On an ordinary day, the early morning flights are scheduled to land on runway 34 and depart from runway 32. Once the German ordinance has ceased, Zurich Airport operates its normal concept, offering landings on runway 14 and departures out of runway 28 or 16. In the evening, the German ordinance again comes into force, and your landing is scheduled on runway 28 and departure out of runway 32. Refer to your official airport documentations and NOTAMs for exact times and runway allocation. Whether it's distraction, high workload, or another contributing factor, we all know that a simple misunderstanding in an unfamiliar environment can easily happen. In the worst case, they may add up to a serious incident or even an accident. Did you know that one of the most devastating accidents in aviation history was a runway incursion? It was on a foggy day in March 1977, when two Boeing 747s collided on the runway at Tenerife North Airport on the Canary Islands. As KLM 4805 initiated its takeoff run, the Pan Am Flight 1736 was still taxiing down the runway. Shrouded in thick fog, the two airplanes collided, killing 583 people and making it the deadliest accident in aviation history. Fortunately, not all runway incursions lead to tragic accidents, and it's not always airplanes that intrude into the runway safety area. Quite often, runway incursion incidents are caused by vehicles, provoking aborted takeoffs or go-arounds. Happenings like these showed us that incidents and accidents related to runway incursions can happen almost on every airport and at any time. The runway layout at our airport makes runway crossings inevitable for almost every aircraft movement. The local runway safety team analyzes occurrences, issues awareness-raising documentation, and recommends best practices for safe runway operations. We are now reaching out to you and your fellow colleagues on the flight deck to help us prevent further incidents. Zurich Airport has a complex runway system. To the northeast, runway 14 hosts most of our landings. Our longest runway, 1634, is located on the west side and is mainly used for departures of long-haul flights. It intersects with runway 1028 to the south, our main departure runway. The intersecting runways, together with the runway operating concept and the fact that the two aprons are located to the north and south of runway 1028, add to the complexity of our operations. For communication matters, most of our taxiways and tarmac areas are controlled by apron control. You will be communicating with apron north and apron south. The respective sectors are divided by the runway axis 1028. Movements on the runways are exclusively controlled by tower control. In certain cases, ground control handles runway crossings. Let us now familiarize you with our local flight operations by pointing out some highlights you will be experiencing when flying into Zurich on an ordinary day. This will give you a better understanding of our runway and taxiway layout, the number of frequency changes involved, and explains our hotspots and special procedures. Remember, for early mornings, as well as late evening arrivals, and of course special weather conditions, our runway concept will be adapted. Soon you will be flying into Zurich Airport, and you can expect to land on runway 28. As we apply minimum runway occupancy time, your support to vacate the runway as swiftly as possible is highly appreciated. Expect to vacate the runway via taxiway Kilo or Juliet to the south. You will be handed over to apron south once you are properly clear of the runway. If not yet in contact with apron south, hold your position until you have received the corresponding taxi clearance. Most likely you will be parked in GAC Sector 1 or 3, and therefore you will normally continue with a left turn along taxiway Alpha or Yankee. For your departure from GAC Sector 1 or 3, apron south will normally clear you to holding point Papa 1 at runway 28. You can perform your run-up at this position. Be aware that this holding point is not located directly at the runway. Do not taxi beyond the respective holding point until cleared to do so by tower control in order to facilitate movement of opposite traffic. You will be flying into a busy hub with intense airline traffic. As a recreational pilot, this might be an unfamiliar situation which causes additional workload. Expect a dense radio environment, and your air traffic controller might assign you to any runway with changes at short notice in order to optimize traffic flow. Therefore, we expect you to thoroughly prepare and familiarize yourself with all our local procedures. Usually, you will be landing on runway 28, and no hotspots are along your taxi route to GAC Sector 1. However, runway allocation may vary, and for landings on runway 1634 or 1432, you can be affected with up to 3 hotspot areas. The first one after landing on runway 14 when approaching holding point Juliet north of runway 1028. Be aware of increased airplane and ground traffic, as well as an additional workload due to several frequency changes. Our second hotspot is located at the vast concrete area around holding point Echo and Fox, south of runway 1028, which makes it difficult to maintain the exact overview of your location. The same applies to the area just north of the runway axis, where another vast spot of concrete will challenge your overview. In order to prevent possible runway incursions, illuminated red stop bars are placed in front of every runway crossing point. Such red stop bars may never be crossed without ATC clearance. Also, never cross any illuminated red stop bars, even if a corresponding clearance has been received. Instead, inform ATC or apron control about the situation. The risk of wake turbulence is increased due to our intense airliner traffic. Also, you can expect jet blast from departing traffic if you cross a runway closely behind an airliner. Our team from Apron Control is happy to assist you with marshalling services anytime. Do not hesitate to request this service, which is free of charge. Zurich Airport is a busy hub with a complex operating concept and runway layout. These factors will put some additional workload on you and your fellow crew members. We hope this introduction gave you a good overview of our operations and familiarized you with our hotspots. We are convinced that the following rules will help to mitigate the risks for runway incursions. Consider adding the expected taxi clearance to your takeoff and approach briefing. Verify ATC instructions within the cockpit crew. Clarify your ATC clearance if in doubt. Hold your position if the situation is unclear. Never cross an illuminated red stop bar. Request a follow me car or a marshaller at no extra cost. We look forward to welcoming you to Zurich Airport soon. If you have any questions or feedback, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you very much for your contribution to flight safety. Your runway safety team at Zurich Airport wishes you always happy landings.